Well, another thing that's head spinning, and I thought we'd done away with this story, quite frankly. I've been using it as a joke. And the joke was that Democrats and the progressive left at one moment in time said that milk was racist. Well, this whole thing's back again. Milk is racist again, you guys. You can't make this up. Honest to God, you really can't. Nearly 30 self-described civil rights and health groups have written a letter to the U.S. Department of Agriculture asking it to combat dietary racism by including soy milk as an alternative to cow milk in its national school lunch program. The letter claims that fluid milk from cows, which the USDA considers a vital component of wholesome meals, is not a viable option for many Black, Hispanic, and Native American school children who experience lactose intolerance at much higher rates than whites. So because there's a discrepancy, because there's disparity in the outcome, it must be racist. I mean, this is literally racism nowadays. This is how they quantify, this is how they talk about racism. Before, we would actually see real racism, right? What the Ku Klux Klan did, what freaking Germany did. You know, you can actually see real racism. I'm saying even today, yes, in other components, you could still see racism. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. It 100% does. But damn, what you saw way back then compared to now on how what the left is using racism as because of the discrepancy in data, it's not perfect 50-50 or equal, and that's racist. Crazy times we live in, man. Quote, if Black Lives Matter does our health and nutrition, but the National School Lunch Program has consistently failed children of color, either school children drink the milk they've been given and suffer in class while they're trying to learn, or they go without a nutritionally significant portion of their meal. Just a question here. I understand the meal programs. As somebody as a teacher that's worked in public school, a lot of high need districts utilize programs to feed children. My thing though is that I'm all for you pushing this whole thing of, hey, we need soy milk in the school system so we can help children. I'm all for helping children. I'm all for trying to take care of them. I just, for the love of God, just want to see an article talk about the parents for one moment here of what's going on with them not able to give their own children soy milk or some sort of alternative water, reusable bottle to bring to school. Do they need the nutrition from it? What's another supplement that we can do? Why does it have to be racist? Like, I just want more of a conversation to be held around other components rather than going, well, it's racist because Black, Hispanics, you know, other people suffer from basically being lactose intolerant compared to, say, whites or whatever. There's a discrepancy in there. You know, again, include more information, include the parents, include other people that could sit there and maybe find other alternatives other than freaking talking about it being racist. The group Switch for Good, which signed the letter and with which Mills is affiliated, calls privileging cow milk over soy milk an example of dietary racism. I mean, I can't do it. I can't do it. Can you get more of a freaking leftist sentence out of that? Which signed the letter. Mills signed the letter. Again, I just want to read that statement for you. Calls privileging cow milk over soy milk an example of dietary racism. On its website, Switch for Good claims that anywhere from 70 to 95% of minority students are lactose intolerant compared to just 15% of whites. Therefore, by focusing only on cow milk and ignoring the alternatives, the lactose-persistent white majority is making nutritional decisions for the entire population without taking into account the harmful effect dairy has on BIPOC communities. This is dietary racism. In addition to the lactose problem, the letter to the USDA also takes issue with the hoops that students must jump through in order to receive a cow milk alternative at lunch. USDA does compel schools to collect a note from a parent or guardian whenever a student requests a cow milk alternative. It also states that a note from a medical professional may be used to support a fluid milk substitution from a non-disability reason, though such a note is not required. It is patently discriminatory to require a doctor's note for a nearly ubiquitous condition. Black, Native American, Asian, and Latino kids are being pushed for their race and heritage. I like to point out that if you need a doctor's note to get this product, at no point does they throw in white people in here. I mean, white people have issues as well, right? I mean, thus they would need to get this doctor note as well, but they just leave it out. And I just want to point it out because there's a bias that's within that whole aspect of, Well, it's only Black and Native American and Asian and Latino kids that need to get these doctor notes. In a nutshell, it's basically what they're saying by not including white people. According to The Hill, 30 million children depend on the NSLP. The letter signifies and basically signs further claim that a disproportionate number of those students are racial minorities. It's hard to imagine a more inequitable and socially unjust USDA practice than to force feed of milk on minority children in our schools. Until children of color are properly provided for in the USDA-funded NSLP, the "And Justice for All" posters that the agency requires participating public schools to display in their lunchrooms is simply empty rhetoric, as injustices are visited on millions of underserved children each day. So milk's racist again. If you don't offer soy milk, it's once again dietary racist. And normally I would laugh at this. One, I feel like I'm getting a little under the weather, so that's why I don't have a ton of energy today. Two, it just gets tiresome. Everything is not racist. Just because they don't provide a certain product does not mean they're racist. There is a whole spiel that I learned in business school that Band-Aids used to be racist because they only provided one color and they didn't require another color for blacks, completely disregarding the benefit that it was just to have a single color, how easy it was to find just that single color, that pigment. But they're not going to go into all those details, the business's practices, the manufacturing component, meeting a greater market. I'm just going to make up some numbers here. 80% of a population compared to maybe 5 to 10% of a population. You would obviously service and cater to the majority population as a business because you're going to be able to sell more. It doesn't make sense to increase your expenses to a population that's not necessarily in demand for that product or might not need that product in that color and would rather choose a different color. There's so many reasons. That's not really part of it here. The whole purpose of me bringing that up is just because a product or service is not provided does not mean it's discriminatory nor racist. I think that we should look into this. I think it's important that we serve and help children. I'm all for it. Let's get the soy milk in there. Let's try to take care of them. I'm a school teacher myself. I don't want to see kids starve. I don't want to see kids not get the nourishment that they need. But I do think that we don't need to throw racism into freaking everything from the Democrat Party and the progressive left. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.